Welcome.
We ain't afraid of no ghosts.
This is your number one podcast for ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties. Bringing you everything you need to know about things that go bump in the night and interviewing the personalities behind them. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Now, here are your hosts, your ghost hosts, Scott and Julie.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Paranormal Project. I have some very good news today. My co-host, Julie, has COVID. That is not the good news. Actually, she's recovering. She's doing remarkably well, but I don't think her voice would last for a full hour. So you recognize this woman in front of me who is a legend in her own right. So not only do we have a fantastic guest, I have a fantastic co-host, my dear friend, Andrea Perron. Thank you so much for being with us today. It is really, truly a pleasure to have you doing the show with me. It's an honor.
No, it's a privilege for me as well. And, you know, we got so connected in Scotland. We spent so much time together talking and really getting to know each other on a much deeper level. You know, we hopped right past the, oh, I saw you at this event, or I saw you at that event, or you signed my book, or, you know, whatever. I mean, we're so far past that now. We're down the rabbit hole, and it's a great place to be with you.
You know, when you can hang out with people in their pajamas, you know you're tight. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, you know?
Yeah, or when I come and knock on your door in the middle of the night and say, can you open my window for me? Right. I don't know how. I'm dying in here.
Oh, it was so hot. I mean, the hottest it's been in 100 years, and there we were. And I had packed fleece and jeans and sweaters. And,
I know, me too.
And there it is. So we are going to be chatting with Patti Negri today, and you know, she is the good witch of Hollywood. So I'm really excited. You have a thing for witches, right? I know you have some witches here that you in Massachusetts. You're going to come up and visit when you come up this way. But I'm really excited to talk with her. And you know, I met you because you were an ambassador for Mysterious Adventure Tours. Yes. And that's how we met in Scotland. I mean, we met before, but that's where we really connected. And I know that he's going to be doing a tour with Maria very shortly. So we get to talk to her about that a little bit. So without further ado, let's bring Patti into the show. Hello there. How are you, Patti?
Huh? I am great. This is like such a treat. It was already going to be a great ice cream sundae with you, Scott, but now we've got the cherry on top. So thank you, Andrea. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
Really a pleasure. Really a pleasure. Patti, you are going to, I was just saying to Andrea that we had met, really is where we connected, was in Scotland on one of Maria's tours. And you're going to Romania. When is that? That's in October?
November. It is in November to Romania. They're calling it the birth of the vampires. I'm so excited. We're going to, I mean, like the Bram Castle, which everybody thinks of as Dracula, and then the real Vlad, like the ruins of the castle. And we're going to that really haunted forest, and we get to do magic there, and the witch's pond, and do magic there. Beautiful magic. And I can't wait. I got to get to know Maria, like you guys, down the rabbit hole at Bosworth, England earlier this year at another event. And so I'm excited to do this. And I'm coming with Father Sebastian, the vampire, my friend who I met on Ghost Adventures years ago, and we became best friends. And then James Anito, the priest exorcist, just so you'll have a witch, a vampire, and an exorcist. And they're all going to walk into a bar, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a good joke. But you know, James, I know personally James well. He's a friend, so that's really great. I had never heard of Father Sebastian before, but he considered a vampire, or what is his
yes, he's not, he doesn't drink blood. When I first met him, again, like 5-6 years ago, it was on Ghost Adventures. We were at Zach's museum, and he literally was passed out on the floor from Bela Lugosi's mirror. And we hit it off, and he's been running basically endless night balls for since he was a kid in the mid 90s. He's the world's best fangsmith. Actually, he offered to fang me, and I'm like, well, you're cute, but I'm married. No, but to make me a set of fangs, and I'm like, my idea of vampires isn't good. I mean, I'm left of center. I'm embraced my witchdom, my psychic, my medium, but my thoughts of vampires is not such a positive one. I don't want you to know if I want you to fang me. So I started reading his books, and they're elemental magic. They're just like mine. These are positive vampires, just like with witches and with all of us that do this. There's good and bad. What they drink of is the life force. You go to a concert and feel the magic around you. And it's very elemental, very chaos style magic, such as mine is very ceremonial magic, and it's all positive. So there's a beautiful ball going on upstairs, and then we're doing a peace in the world for Ukraine ritual downstairs. It's a saber-tooth family, and yeah, so I'm a vampire and a witch. Ha!
There you go. Zach Bagans Museum, that's where you met him. I had a chance to go last year. I was in Las Vegas a year ago, June, and had a chance to go through that. That's quite a place. It's a little bit.
It is quite a place. Yes. It's beautifully done, and it's beautifully curated, for whatever. I mean, you got to haunted things and somewhat dark. But yeah, I remember before he even owned it, and we were filming Deadly Possessions, which was a spin-off of Ghost Adventures, because he wanted to start showing his collection, and he had this building, and he hadn't bought it yet. They had rented it, and it was kind of set up a couple of rooms. And he told me that he was running me around like a little kid. He goes, and my doll room is going to be, and he was literally going to go to the Las Vegas City Council the next day and ask them if he could open a museum, and if he could open a museum, he was going to buy it, and the rest is history. It gets #1 attraction, or #1 of any kind of attraction in museum year after year since he's opened it. It's really well done.
The collection of things that he has in there, and most of it was okay. That whole part with the serial killers and everything, that kind of the whole empath in me wants to just kind of go, ugh. You just sort of walk away, and it's a little bit heavy, but if you're into haunted stuff and the macabre, who's better than Zach Bagans to put all that stuff together for you?
Yeah, and he does offset it with a light. And I always say you don't have to go into that room because there's people like it. Well, you guys know we're all in this paranormal world. Nobody wants to go do the paranormal investigation where the ghosts are having a party and hanging from the chandeliers. No, we go to the insane asylum and in the prison and all that stuff. So he gives people what they want, but he always offsets it with a little bit of lightness. And I know there's a bunch of protection built in.
Mm-hmm.
He lets people get a little woozy, pass out once in a while, but nobody's really going to take anything home with them.
Yeah. I think that it is very interesting. I know a lot of practitioners and consider myself on some level one of them, and always have. I started studying when I was 17, just curious, wanted to know what this was, and came to the realization at a relatively early age that it was ultimately just a manipulation of the energy that already exists around all of us, and that we can decide how we want to channel that energy, with goodness and light, or with darker forces, which we all know exist. I met a woman in Salem a few years ago who told me that she was 128 years old, and I believe her. And she looks like she's maybe 60, maybe, and has been a practitioner all of her life. And I didn't doubt her word at all. She has found a way to manipulate energy to the extent that she has found a way to make herself ageless. It's really
amazing.
Quite amazing. And she self-heals and, heals others. And, when I was with Scott in England and in Scotland, Scotty from Scotland, and saw so much and learned so much of the persecution, the torture, everything that went on. Millions and millions of people, predominantly women, have paid with their lives for having that word thrown at them, whether or not it was true. And in the vast majority of cases, it was not. They were simply the weirdos, the ones that lived outside of the castle gates, the ones that grew their own herbs and made their own tea and tended to themselves. And somebody came along, usually somebody in the church at the existing religion at the time, thinking that property should really belong to the church, and so let's pull out that word from your back pocket. Women are still dying in Africa today for being accused of practicing witchcraft. And it does make me wonder, Patti, really, in terms of our own superstitions and our own understanding, how far we've come in terms of a global society about this. And I'm afraid not very far. So it's important for people like you who are considered a white witch, a healer, a giver, a seer, to make your presence known in the world in such a way that it educates others.
And that is my whole goal. And I don't care what your belief system is, or I don't want to make anybody a witch or anything, but just take your power back. And that's what it is. Yes, they wanted their land. And yes, these were independent women, mostly women, but they took their own fate into their own hands. And the church and the government doesn't want that. They want you to do what we say, not to create your own, we blow the wind this way, you go this way. We put up sails, go, no, I'm going this way. And it is about healing, because in my practice, I see people, it's like, we give away our power to other people. We give away our power to limiting belief systems. We give away our power to fear. It's like embrace a fear like it's a roller coaster. And healing, I'm supposed to have been dead a decade and a half ago. I gave up getting sick a long time ago. And we have that power. Everything is, like you said it perfectly, everything is energy. It's just energy. And we can move it. We can let it spread out. We can let it chaos. Or we can use it for goodness and healing. And we have a long way to go.
Yes.
And words have meaning, and intention has meaning. And, you can manifest anybody, the more negative you are, the more negative you will bring into your life, and the more positive you are, the more positive you bring into your life.
It's the immutable law of attraction. Like attracts like. It's as simple as that. It's so simple. That's the thing. Everything's so simple, and we're the ones that complicate it and infuse it with this fear-based carbon unit mindset that is absolutely inappropriate to what it is.
Yeah, you're right. And there is good and there is evil. But to me, the two big powers, the forces of the world, are not necessarily good and evil. They're really attached to love and fear.
Yes.
Love and fear, the choices we make from fear, the fear-driven belief systems. Yeah. Those are rarely our best choices or decisions, but the ones made from love are. All the things. Love is all there is. Love is all you need. It's all true.
People are confused as they think that hatred is the opposite of love. It's not. Hatred is born of fear. It is the spawn of fear. Fear is the opposite of love.
Fear, yes, completely. And like people who do bad magic, it's like, I don't get why. You don't have to. You can get everything else. And it's not good or bad. You're going to go to hell or heaven. It's like, we create the world we live in. So if I do magic that manipulates somebody, I live in a world where I can be manipulated. If I hex and curse someone, I live in a world where hexes and curses exist. We create our own worlds and realities. So you see people who do that, and it's like, wow, they're getting a little paranoid. They're getting a little cranky. They're getting a little this. And people who don't. That's it. So why go there?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's intention. And, so the magic, when we talk about magic, is it really just intention based, or is it really, you know what I mean? Like, if you believe it, it is.
What I believe, and again, I've said my grandfather was this big atheist philosopher, psychoanalyst from Turkey. I believe everything goes to the psychological mind, body, spirit that 20,000 books are written on. Mind. We will never surpass our own belief system. We know that. If you don't think you can do it, you're probably not going to do it. If you think you can climb that, you will. Mind. We know we'll never surpass that. Basic psychology. Body. You got to get off the couch and do it. You want to get healthy. And the spirit, that's what people don't quite get some more because it's less tangible. but that's the battery that makes it happen. You could do it through your faith. Go to church, go to temple, prayer, faith could make, I need this. You could do it new age, vision boards, affirmations, positive thinking. Great. You could do what I would do, a spell working, herbs and oils and mugworts and chants. But anybody, look at everything that you've accomplished in your life. You've had that combination, mind, body. You believed you could have it, that you deserved it. You got off the couch, you took action, and you had that spirit or faith or magic behind it. The stuff you haven't quite accomplished, one or two of those things need tweaking. You don't really believe it, or you just haven't taken the action to do it, or the energy to make it happen. In the witchcraft, we call it creation working dispatch. It's just a different template. The creation. Oh, I'm going to do a love spell. Oh, Friday, that's the day of Venus. Rose petals in a bath. And again, it's the putting up your head. The body part is the working. You're stirring it, and the spirit is the sending it up into the heavens. Same thing. You could use psychology words, religious words, spiritual words, pagan words. That's the line of truth. I see energy. So magic. It's and I honestly, right now, we mostly have to stay within the laws of physics and things. But I think once we use that other 90% of our brain, we're not going to have to so much.
Yes, I've always said magic is science we don't yet understand.
And they're crashing together with the quantum sciences right now.
Yes, they are. It is the time of the merging of science and spirituality. Tesla said, once that happens, once science and spirituality merge, we will make great leaps in our own evolution in consciousness because of the two holding hands, because they're integrally connected. But we have spent millennia trying to somehow separate them and make one suspicious and make and sometimes the other suspicious as well. Let's face it, Galileo died in prison because he was too brilliant to be, let out among the population. This kind of thing often poses a threat to the established order. So if somebody's saying, if the Webb telescope sends us back visions of the farthest reaches of the universe, and we start seeing things that none of us have ever seen before, and some of us can't process it, then it will somehow fall into the category of that's something that we need to fear. It's the same with my work with the galactic family and what they call ufology now. And I've been doing that since well before that term was ever coined. It's not, there's nothing that should be fear-based about it at all. And yet every government on the planet that has information about it is trying to weaponize it, to militarize it, to make people fearful about it, and to sterilize we lost Patty. She'll come back. There she is.
Yeah, I don't know. That happens. Haunted.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm spinning and I'm gone, and now you're gone. Now you're both gone. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that happens very often when I mention the galactic family. So let's just blame them.
Okay.
And it's just, hi, how are you? We're going to mess with your network momentarily so that you know that we're listening to what you're saying about us. And that's them. So, but it really is, everything is one thing. Everything is energy, and you can call it energy or consciousness or existence, give it whatever Post-it note you want to give it as a label. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Everything is one thing. And I've always believed that once we in greater numbers are able to tap into the unified field of consciousness with the highest intention for the greatest good for the planet, is when we will make a quantum leap in understanding and ultimately spiritual ascension as a race, as a singular race on the planet.
Right. Don't you think too, when you talk about the merging of spiritual and science too, especially in our paranormal world, we're seeing more of that. There are people who have been, I don't want a medium on an investigation. I want, a recorder, and I want to be able to quantify it. But yet I'm seeing more people starting to embrace that because, you know, it's another tool. It's another thing, right?
It's the greatest tool.
Truly.
We are the greatest tool on any investigation. I don't touch the gizmos and gadgets at all. Nothing. If I can't sense it, then, you know, that's what's real to me, what I can sense, and especially through the third eye.
Through the third
and
eye.
100%. And again, that's helping to bring it together, because forever, again, you and I, Andrea's like, okay, and I'll be going, yeah, and there's a ghost going woo, 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 woo in the back, but they believe me or they don't believe me. Now there's a guy with the technology and SLS camera and in a different room that I'm not seeing, and the ghost is going woo, woo, woo. It's like, yes, right. It's like proving what, it's like, she's not crazy. Now science is showing what the weird spiritual thing is. Mm-hmm. So it's great. And I mess up technology myself.
We've all done that.
You know? Haven't we though? Yes. I'm a techno idiot personally. Cheers, ginger ale. The nectar of the
water,
gods.
Yay!
There you go. When I met Andrea, we were at the Ocean State Paracon, and I wanted to get a picture with her. And I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
But we couldn't take a picture. Julie cannot take a picture of me. And probably the two of us together, she's like, your phone's not broken. But she kept pressing and pressing and pressing. And we finally got someone else to take the photo because we were not able to take a photo of the two of us. And that happens all the time. I don't know, you know, I can't explain it. I don't know why it is, but it's fascinating that we have that ability. Energy. I wish you had been there, Andrea, when we walked into Grey Kirk Chapel in Scotland. We went into this chapel, and Maria Schmidt was with us, and she said, just show me where we should go. Where should we go? And I went into the chapel, and I said, I feel like I'm over here. And, you know, we kind of moved around, and we sat down, and I said, there's people around us. There's a man here, and there's a woman, and it's a child. And, well, I didn't know she did automatic writing. Mm-hmm. And she just started writing. And as I didn't even catch it because she was sitting there quietly. As I was saying it, she was writing it. It was the most incredible thing. And we ended up crossing him over. He said he was a peasant and that he didn't deserve to be in heaven. And, you know, and you know, it was really emotional. And there was people playing the organ upstairs in the choir lot. I mean, it was just like celestial. It was like you could see the doors of heaven open. And he crossed into the light. And at that moment, the organ stopped, the lights went off, and they told us we needed to leave.
You got rid of our ghost. Get out of here.
And he may have waited all of this time, not that they have necessarily any construct of time on the other side, but still waited all that time for the right energetic combination, the right frequency to resonate. He was there at precisely the time that he needed to be with the people that could help him the most.
He knew that we knew he was there. He wasn't just hanging around. You know, he knew that we knew he was there, and it's kind of moving. You know, it's just such a beautiful thing.
Maria had that automatic writing thing when we were in the bus going to Bosworth for the Festival of the Unexplained. I don't know, a few months ago. She was. I mean, we're getting stuff. I'm getting stuff, and she's. Yeah, it's all written down right here. Go, Maria. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she is. She's extremely connected. Yeah. Extremely connected. Yep.
Had no idea. And I only know Maria because we were going to England and I kept calling her and saying, can I book my flight yet? I was worried about the prices going up. She says, not yet. But we talked enough over a period of months that we ended up becoming friends. And it's just funny how that just sort of played out, you know? Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
It was. Well, you know, when she called me, I mean, it was, I don't know which wave of COVID it was, but there was a new wave. And you know, she said, I'm going to probably have to combine your trip with Rick McCullum. So would you mind doing Scotland before England? And I said, no, I've been expecting this phone call. I knew how that was going to go all along. I never bothered to tell her that because I don't like to plant seeds, there is this thing called the power of suggestion. But I just knew that I would be doing Scotland first, and we had about 30 people on the trip with us. It was quite a large tour group. And then, but it was like, about half and half of the people who came with us specifically to be with us, and then had the opportunity to meet everybody else and people who knew me but had never met Rick, and vice versa. So it was a blending of the experience that was truly moving. It was like what I imagine the rapture to be like, to go to a place where everything is just so beautiful and seems so unspoiled, and yet it is a land so with such a deep history and connection with conflict and warring clans and fighting England, and the UK has a brutal, barbaric history. But I also believe that part of the education of going there is not just simply all the eye candy of the place itself, but delving into that history. Because as the great poet George Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. So I think that's the true value of traveling to that part of the world. And it will be for you too, Patti. I mean, going to Romania, which is not a place that I'm attracted to or that I would ever want to go to. I have a quick funny story for you. I met Anne Rice a number of years ago. I went to her last Paracon as a personal invitation. And it was in New Orleans, of course. And she and I met at the church that she grew up in New Orleans. And she did a brief lecture. She was, starting, she was starting to physically beginning to fade. But she found the wherewithal and the energy, and she did a brilliant job. And then afterwards, I walked up to her because that was the first time that I had seen her since I had arrived. And she told me she was a fan. And I'm thinking, okay, Anne Rice has read my books. Are you kidding me? Really? Are you kidding me? And but then she leaned over and she said, and I said, and I'm a big fan too. And she said, but I don't believe in ghosts. And I said, that's okay. I don't believe in vampires. and she said to me, I wish she took my hands. We talked for about 15 minutes privately before everybody inundated both of us for different reasons. And as we were parting, because there was a line forming around us, she leaned up into me because I was significantly taller, and she said, I wish you every blessing. And I said, oh my God, that's my line. I say that to everybody all the time. And she said, yes, dear, but it was my line first. And it was a real sweet, sweet memory of my time with her. And nobody could get a picture of us. Nobody could get a picture of us together. The energy was just such that nobody could get. Everybody tried. Everybody in my group, everybody tried. I never saw a single picture that didn't come out just all blurry. I mean, there was just nothing. There was just nothing. It was just a blur of colors. It was really amazing. And that speaks to the power of energy. It speaks to how it can literally, mess these things up, like huge.
Right.
Huge.
Yeah.
I wear 2 watches and neither of them keep time. They're both good watches. It's like either 12 or 7. I don't know. Yeah. I can't, the energy.
I know. I suck mine dry completely. A brand new battery has a lifespan of maybe 15 minutes. I just gave up. I wear it as jewelry. And if anybody asks me the time, I check my phone.
Me too, but it's haunted too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I keep my phone on the charger because if I don't, it's gone in a few hours. Crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's there's something to it, and I think people need to pay attention to that kind of stuff because they can really change their lives. They can really change their lives if they
Well,
start.
they can take control of their lives. They can empower themselves.
Right.
Our superpower is love, and our most superpower is higher love, which is not of this world. And, when you start tapping into that, then you're where you need to be to make, to leap from grade school to grad school in terms of your understanding of this, oppressive 3D world in which we live, and are then able to shape it and to determine outcomes rather than waiting for the universe to roll the dice. It's just that simple. It's simple.
Yeah, it truly is. It's magical, you might say.
I know it is
Magical.
magical.
It really is. It really is magical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Patty,
and
you
we-
and I should get together in Michigan, and
Yes,
maybe
we
do
will.
a
I
little
can't wait.
a little thing, a little thing together with whomever wants to gather around us.
Yes, I can't
And,
wait. Definitely.
we
Yeah,
can
I
show
feel it
them-
already. I'm already going like this over here. I can feel
No,
it
me
already.
too. My hands. It's like, let's show them how sparks can actually fly from our fingertips. Let's show them that.
Nice.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah. So
we
how
have a
how
plan.
and I will be there, so I hope I'm invited to at least watch. That would
You're
be
of course. Oh,
I tell you, just
You're all in, Scott.
you
You're
know what?
all in.
It is the honor of my lifetime. It is the honor of my lifetime to be able to sit and not just chat with you, but to feel like I have you as a friend. And Patty was so gracious to come on the show, and and to me that's just like, who would have thought? Who would have thought? And here we are. So it's a beautiful thing.
who wouldn't want to be on your show, Scott? Stop that.
Well, it really is a beautiful thing. It is for me. I put myself out there and said, I'm going to do this show, and I hope I get enough people to be able to come on to make it interesting. And here we are. Look at this. It's just great. It really is.
Manifestation.
It's manifestation. It's
Well,
truly
Patty,
is.
I would really like to invite you on as a guest on my show. I do a show called The World Awakening, and your message, I think, is so important in terms of, the illumination, the enlightenment, the way forward. And
Well,
also, I really like having guests on that think exactly the way that I do.
it's looking like we're thinking exactly. Well, I will do your show if you do my show, which is called The Witching Hour, where I
Yes.
have guests like you, very inspiring magic that we, take your power back kind of stuff. So, okay, we have
It's a deal.
double plan now. I'm going to do yours. You're going to do mine. The three of us, we're going to raise the roof in Michigan.
And there you go.
Ah,
There you go.
Yes,
Can't
we
wait. It's
will.
coming up. It's not that far off, actually.
It's not that far off. It's coming fast.
It really is. I'm looking forward to it. That's one I've never been to, so I'm looking.
Oh
It's a
my
good
God.
one.
It's like walking, Patty, tell him. It's like
It is the
walking
best.
into a wall of love.
That's awesome.
And it is. It's like, oh, hi. Because we're such an interesting little community, our little paranormal community. But it is. It's not like a lot of groups of humans can get. It's not that at all. It's just love.
It really is. And we're not such a little community. It's really quite a sizable event. The average is about 1,500 people that
Yeah.
gather for a weekend. It's a large event, and the energy at the event is the whole vibration of the place is very, very high. It's like a family reunion every year. I think this will be my 8th year in a row going, and I wouldn't consider missing it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I feel like I float home. I don't even need a jetliner to get back to Florida. I just float home. It is very ethereal. It is, and the thing that's most interesting about it is that you get to see, when you've got that many members of the paranormal community together, what an incredibly eclectic community it is. And yet we all love, honor, and respect each other.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of, well, that's not my thing, or I don't believe in that, or, I mean, it's a lot of people that are very, very open-minded and willing to think outside the box in a beautiful way. It's really quite inspiring, Scott. You'll be thrilled to be there.
I can't wait. I'll be there for the whole time. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Although, you know, I don't know where you're flying into, but I'm flying into Detroit because
So am I.
I don't know. And then it's like what, a 5-hour ride or something from Detroit?
Yeah, I'm driving up with some friends that are going to pick me up at the airport because I refuse to use the little
plane. I'm taking the little plane. You get on a little plane.
Good luck with that,
Scott.
honey.
Oh, you
It's a Volkswagen in the sky.
It is, and good luck. You know, because I've had too many bad experiences with that flight of them not showing up on time, not leaving on time, not having the seats available that they actually booked. They need to get their act together. And so I would rather just drive to Sault Ste. Marie. And I love Michigan. I have a huge following in Michigan. So it's an opportunity for me to traverse the roads that I love. And it's a beautiful, beautiful state. It's absolutely charming and lovely. They call it God's country. And if God's country is the frozen tundra 8 months out of the year, then I guess it's God's country. But, you know, at least while I'll be up there. Oh, and do bring a jacket, because there are nights that it'll go down into the 40s. There have been nights when I've been outside doing my calling and my formal introductions that I needed a shawl. I needed something heavy to wear because it gets cold there at night. You are literally on the Canadian border.
It really is literally on the border.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get cold in California, so I have parkas on. It's like, I live in LA. If it gets below 73, I'm freezing. It's like, But what I liked about the little puddle jumper thing, it was so, it's a crazy little airline in this little airport that's closed up if you're not there. But I liked it. The funniest sign, and I took a picture of it. It said, because I guess like Mackinac Island, and it literally, before you, like usually they say take out your 3 ounces of whatever and what you're having. The big sign was remove your fudge.
Yes.
Remove your fudge, because they make fudge, I guess. It's like, why do you have to remove your fudge? Is fudge a weapon? I don't know. Maybe they want your fudge.
No, it's because it in the X-ray machine, it looks identical to, I think it's called C3, that explosive. It comes an explosive that comes in a cube, and the X-ray machine cannot distinguish between fudge and that explosive material.
That is thank you for that, because I was like, why do I have to take out, not that I have fudge, but now I want fudge, but why do you have to remove? Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Because I could have gone the rest of my life going, why do I have to take out my fudge?
No, I just eat it there, because inevitably somebody gives me a fresh pack, or I give it back to them and say, mail it to me, and that works too. Yep.
Isn't that ironic? Sweet candy or explosives, all the same.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know, but they do make the world's best fudge. I gotta say, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Mackinac Island. Have you been to Mackinac Island?
I went there once years ago. It was so magical. It was like you step back in time. There's no cars on the island, that big hotel, whatever from that movie.
The Mission. The Grand Hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the places we've been talking about going, because they say it's pretty special. I've not ever been out there. The only thing I think of Michigan, I think of Detroit, and why would anyone want to go to Detroit? But, if you drive out of it and keep going, I guess it's pretty nice. So we'll see.
It is. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful and raw and rugged. And there are some places in northern Michigan, even at the height of summer, that look almost like they're frosted because the trees have sustained so much damage, and yet they continue to thrive in spite of it, which to me is kind of an inspirational thought. No matter how old and haggard and ragged and windblown you get, you can still live through it and celebrate one more summer. And the closer you get to Sault Ste. Marie, the more you have that experience, that feeling of, like, am I even still on planet Earth anymore? You know, it's strange. It's strange. And then when you're there, you must make a trip down to the Sioux Locks, where the shipping channel goes through, and the beautiful old stone homes, and you know, the center of the mercantile community that built Sault Ste. Marie. And it's the only city in the country where half of the city is in the United States and the other half is on the other side of the Sioux Locks, and it's Canada. And so we share Sault Ste. Marie with our northern neighbors.
And there's not much is there. I mean, it's pretty just like nothing, right? It's nothingness. Even when you cross into the border, I mean, into Canada, there's not much there either, I don't think.
Yeah, it's
just nature.
Very almost desolate and very isolated. And you feel like you're stepping back into Ozzie and Harriet days, you know, with an occasional package store and a 5 and dime. And it's like, wow, you know, and people live up here all the time on purpose.
On purpose. I know. I mean, where do they shop? Well, you know, did you think of that in Scotland? But like, where do they shop? Are there any malls? I mean, what if you want to buy, you know what I mean?
How about if you want to buy a pack of cigarettes and you get told in the town that they don't sell cigarettes in the town at all, and that you would need to go 5 kilometers down to the next town in order to find a pack? Oh my God.
Wow.
Pull over so you could get something.
And you can't find a trash can anywhere, and there's no trash on the streets or the roads. It's like, what do? Just stuff it in their pockets and throw it out properly when they get home? What is it with these people? Good luck finding a trash barrel.
Wow. I can't wait. I'm going to be looking for trash cans. I'm going to be looking for cigarettes. That's
just
funny.
Patti, I will warn you in advance, my darling, because I know how sensitive you are, and I know what a tender heart you have. Just from meeting you, just, you know, for the little bit of time that we've had to spend together, I know you, and I know that you will, you know, be deeply touched, and you'll feel the sting. You will feel the sting of knowing that 400, 500, 600 years ago, they called it the Dark Ages for a reason. You know, you would have been put to death for doing what you do right now. And it's not something that you can just compartmentalize and throw into the back of your consciousness. No. You can't. When you're there, it's omnipresent. You know, it is a feeling of remorse, a feeling of loss, a feeling of knowing the indignities that were suffered, knowing the tragedy of all of it, and feeling it because, you know, these women are our own kind. And the vast majority of them wouldn't know what a witch did. The vast majority of them wouldn't even know what the implications of that word meant. All they know that they were accused of it and charged with it and died for it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely tragic. And it's hard. You know, I talked to Scott a lot while we were out there. I'm like, I gotta step out of this place. And we were in what was it, Black Ness? We were in one room and everybody had their gadgets out, and it came through loud and clear. No women allowed. We were, I guess, in the quarters where the officers were. No women allowed. Wow. We were like, all right, sayonara, we're out of here. You know, it's a different time, really, truly stepping back in history and feeling the depth and breadth of it in your soul.
But don't you think too, though? I mean, it was a different time, and certainly, you know, we don't go around throwing the boot on people, but we're still doing it, though. They're still going after women. They're still going after the LGBT community. They're still going after the immigrants. They're still going after people who are different in one way or another. Yeah. Yes. And it's just sad. It's just sad that we really haven't come around that much in all this time.
And so often, the same mindset of persecution is tied directly to a belief system, a specific religion. And so we have not evolved past that. Now, if the whole idea of Christianity, for instance, is, love thy neighbor as thyself, do unto others as though you are the others, how did that get lost in translation?
Right.
Where did, I saw a really great sign at a march, a women's march, that looked like it had been mass produced. I hope it was. And it said at the top, build this wall. And there was a wall between church and the government, Yeah. How about let's build that wall again?
Yeah,
let's rebuild the wall that somehow over the last 240 years, where this was built into the whole principle of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and the state that I grew up in was founded on two principles. Roger Williams, separation of church and state, and freedom to worship as you please. In 1636, how did we lose that? It really did work well, and gave people freedom. And my attitude about this, Patty, and I'm sure yours is pretty similar, is nobody is free until everyone is free, period.
Yep. 100%. And I look at these things done in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, like Jesus would hate this. All I can say is Jesus is going.
Yeah. They haven't learned a thing. They're all too stupid to live. I'll let them live anyway. Maybe they'll learn.
Right.
Yeah.
He'd be here feeding the poor.
He would.
He'd be taking care of the immigrants. We could go on and on about that. It's just horrible how these religions have been hijacked.
Yes.
And it's all about keeping your thumb on the screw, just control.
It's control. It's control. It's not whoever the beginning, the Christ, the Jesus, the Buddha, the this, the Muhammad. It's not them. It's what we, whether it's patriarchy or what, has done it it's control. It's control.
Yeah, it is. And, misogyny rules, and that has to change. We need to create a world, and I use those words deliberately, but to create a world where, for instance, one man can't hold the sword of Damocles over the head of all of Western Europe because he's got nuclear weapons at his disposal. And he's a nut job.
Right.
Here we go. I mean, there's 63 dictatorships on this planet right now. And I really do believe, and Scott, this is nothing against, you're one of the men that stands with us, the women, but I really, really do believe in order to save the human race, women are going to have to take over, because we are the nurturers and the soothsayers, and the wisdom and the protectors, and those that are the healers, and men are inherently destructive. Not all men by any stretch of the imagination, but men thrive and consider themselves powerful the more people that they can take control of, and the higher the body count. It's just that simple. And that's something that has to change here. This has to change in human consciousness. Every one of these men was born, lived in a womb before they breathed air, and I look at the Taliban, and here and we're back in the dark ages. It's in Afghanistan. No, other than the people that were spirited out at the very last minute, everyone that's left behind has just been plunged back, not 20 years, hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, will that rule of law be sustained? I don't think so, but we don't know. And we've got to, I think we just need to recalibrate the way we think about humanity, and who needs to be at the helm. And it really needs to be the voice of the people and freedom. And it needs to be the compassionate, loving women that run the world. It's going to have to be that way, or we are doomed. We're doomed.
We can't even elect a woman to an office and have her overwhelmingly, it's the highest.
Want to get me going on that? Oh, I'm just gonna sit
Yeah.
right back and shut my mouth because
I'm with you. It's so frustrating.
It is.
Yeah.
One thing I noted to not, 100% I am there. But what I like about our community, not getting the women and the men and all that, is that when times get scary, people always traditionally would go to religion and whatever. And traditional religions aren't keeping up with everybody. It's like, but I'm gay, so I can't be a Christian, or whatever their thing is. So a lot of people are going to alternative, either New Age and crystals and light, okay, or old pagan ways, or new pagan ways. And but what paranormal does, some people who are going, well, I need to know, I don't want even religion, I don't even want spirituality, I don't want this, but I need to know there's something more than what I see on my TV screen. They're becoming paranormal investigators.
Yes.
So we're getting these people who want to know that there's more than the nightly news of this. So whether it's talk to spirit, but then they come around back door and start going, yes, there is more. So they're going to discover love. They're going to discover it isn't that we say this. So that's what I love about this. If for people who don't want religion or spirituality, we can get them there with like, consequence, cause and effect, action, all those things that we see. And you don't have to use religious words at all. You can use a K2 meter.
Yep. Absolutely. I often open my lectures with the line, those that, how do I put this? It's just the happiest people I know are obsessed with death. That's how I put it. But it's not that, and then I go on to clarify, but it's not that we're obsessed with death. We're obsessed with knowledge of, discovering knowledge of an afterlife.
It's the
that life does go on in some way, shape, or form, that energy transforms and transmutes, and that it's almost like the chrysalis that bursts open, and there's your butterfly, and you've got wings, and call them wings of angels if you please, but that we can literally take flight out of this gravity driven 3D dynamic that most of us in this community find in some way disquieting and uncomfortable, because we came here with a different mission. Patti, I know you came here with a different mission. When did you discover?
Ladies, just give me 1 second. We have about 5 minutes left, because we can continue this afterwards. We could even do a show 2 someday if you want to, but I gotta keep it under the wire. I didn't finish, but I just want to give you a chance, just a heads up, so you know where we're at.
Okay.
So when did you discover your gifts, your powers, your abilities?
I always have. I was talking to the other side since I could talk. I thought everybody could. The so-called imaginary friends little kids have weren't imaginary. And it just didn't get taught out of me. In our modern Western non-mystical society, that's your imaginary. No, not always. And my mom kind of just went, yeah, grandma did that. So it wasn't taught out of me. And I drive by a church or a temple or a park and see the energy coming out. And so I became a seeker. And just started studying religion, philosophy, and everything. I kept it very separate, though, because I lived in I had a corporate production company, and these people cannot know that I talk to dead people and dance around bonfires and cloaks. So I kept it really separate until about 2008, and that big corporate crash, when you have a corporate production company, and reality TV was going like this, and somebody said, want your talent for a reality show, and I'm like going, no, I don't do that. Please, please, please. And I'm looking at my empty calendar. I'm like, no, please, please, please. And I'm like, well, what's the name of the show? And they go, it's Mobile Home Disaster on Country Music Television. And I go, nobody's going to watch that. Who knew everybody would watch that? But I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm helping a human girl. I'm helping a spirit. They thought this human girl was crazy because of this vortex she drew. It's all real. I'm like, I love this, but no more. But then it aired, and my biggest corporate client called. She's like, I saw you on TV. I'm like, oh God, I'll never work for whatever bank again. She's like, I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I'm like, I'm out of the closet. I'm out of the broom closet. I'm out of the medium closet. And I'm following my path. And so instead of doing song and dance extravaganzas to teach motivation and teamwork to, Microsoft's HR department, I'm talking spirit and love and light. And it's so much more fun. Ah,
And an incredible.
and it's my passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know when I found my way, when I found my light, when I understood why I was here and where I was from, that was it. I closed the door on my past life. That's it. It's over. And it's just, moving forward. And Scott has done the same thing. All three of us are really kindred spirits in terms of, coming to our understanding, living with it privately and quietly, and then being outed for whatever reason. I mean, I was outed internationally with one interview. And I was like, okay, that's it. All right. No going back.
Well,
and
one
so,
day, one day I just came out and said it. I put it on Facebook. I put it in everywhere I was. And I told everybody. And I said, I am not hiding from this at all ever again.
Yeah.
And so, and you can think I'm a kook, or you can, and most people, if not all people that I was close with, are closer now because they've embraced, and it's just wonderful. I don't want to have to hide this. It's who we are.
No.
And we're being our true selves, and authenticity is what the world needs. That truth self is what the world needs. So
it
let
is.
us be
And truth
examples.
predominantly, to speak our truth, to live our truth, to tell the truth, and I don't care who believes me or not. I really don't. I have no vested interest in someone else's belief system. No. And if what I say fractures their belief system, I'm glad, because I really think that we need to do some breaking apart and piecing back together with a higher consciousness on planet Earth. It's time. And each one of us does that. That's what we do. It's who we are.
Can people reach out to you? We just have a couple of minutes left, and we can keep talking because this will stream on YouTube, so we could talk as long as we want. But the radio show is an hour, so
okay, all right. I am everywhere. The easiest way is my website, pattinegri.com, and from there you can get. I'm on all the social media, of course. Patti Negri, psychic medium, Patti.Negri on Instagram. There's a lot of fake me's. I will never contact you and tell you need a reading or that you have a curse.
I have a lot of fake me's
never.
too.
Yeah, I know. It's like, get your own life. This is mine. I have enough trouble. No. But pattinegri.com. I have my podcast, which Andrea is going to be on. Maybe I won't be on. Called The Witching Hour. Everywhere you get podcasts, and YouTube page. I do have a school now, which Andrea, I need to talk to you about doing a guest to come. Maybe both of you. Called University Magickus.com. A silly name. When we say real life Hogwarts, but we have 17 teachers now from Catholic priests, exorcists, to witches and all positive magic, but we don't tell you what to believe. Here's your Reiki master, here's astrologer. So old-fashioned mystery school. And I'm one of the owners of Paraflix. So we have our paranormal network. I have the school, University Magickus, and me. So I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, I won't. No, I won't.
Me either.
So pattinegri.com, you'll find everything there.
Wonderful.
And my book. I have a book. Go. I don't know where it is. Oh, yeah. Old World Magic for the Modern World. Super easy hacks of life. I spent more time unwriting it than writing it because we don't live in an MTV generation like I used to say. We live in a TikTok generation. It's got to be fast. So it's life hack. How to keep your house clear. How to talk to spirits. Find love. Lose weight. Whatever you want to do. 30 seconds when you don't have an hour to meditate. How to do it in 30 seconds using that mind, body, spirit. Grabbing a tree, doing a vowel, doing whatever. That's it. That's me.
Yeah. Excellent.
I have had such a wonderful time. Thank you both so much for being here. It has truly been a pleasure. Annie, it's an honor and really to have you on the show and co-host with me. I love it.
Thank you.
And Patti, thank you so much for being here. It has really been a treat.
I am inspired. This was like the funnest podcast ever. I'm like, whoa, I'm going out now. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us on the show. Have a great night and God bless.
You have been listening to The Paranormal Project with Scott Allen and Julie Finn. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. While you're there, leave us a rating and review so others can find out about the show. Stay haunted and go out there and explore the paranormal.